Morning students, today we will study the environment of the plant. One of the factor is wind velocity. The velocity of a wind at a place depend on various factor. Example, geographical situation. Since they are well marked, measure path of the wind movement from region of higher pressure to region of low pressure as a consequence of unequal heating of the atmosphere. B. Topography. Example, mountain, height and slope. C. Altitude. D. Distance from the seashore. E. Flat plains. And F. Vegetation mass. Effect of wind on vegetation. The velocity of wind has a very important effect on the vegetation of a place. The effect can be studied under the following headings. Breakage. Very high wind velocity break dead and living branches of trees and even uprooted them completely. The effect is, however, less on a dense forest since the forest acts as a windbreak. Soil erosion. In the bare desert, high velocity of wind causes constant soil erosion which make it difficult for a plant to grow there. To check soil erosion in desert and for protecting plant, a dense strip of tall vegetation, usually 50 and 200 feet wide, is planted to act as a windbreak or shelter belt. Wind is also responsible for causing rainfall to a very high extent. In our country, the monsoon type of rainfall is largely determined by particular pattern of wind movement. Deformation. Constant strong wind blowing from one particular direction causes bend of the trees and their branches to one side. This can be clearly seen in the coastal or the mountain side plants. Lodging. Plant like wheat, maize, sugarcane fall flat on the ground due to injury caused by strong wind. The phenomena is called lodging. An important function of wind is to help in population of the flower and dispersal of seed, fruit and microorganism. Desiccation. Wind removes the accumulated water vapor from above the plant and thus increases the rate of transpiration. Fluttering of leaves in high wind result in compression and expression of the intercellular spaces of the mesophyll. Compression facilitates evaporation of saturated air out of the leaf. At the same time, the expansion of these spaces draws drier air inside the leaf. Strong wind during the winter increases the rate of evaporation, whereas the low temperature reduces the rate of absorption. The plants are therefore desiccated due to unfavorable water balance. If the wind suddenly becomes warmer than the soil, plants cannot replace water loss by the soot in transpiration. Plant exposed to continuous wind of even moderate velocity shows desiccating effect of transpiration. If the wind is usually blowing from one side, desiccation is more pronounced on that side only and the plant assume a systematic form. Dwarfing. On the mountain slope, on the windward side, the vegetation is exposed to strong unidirectional wind. The drying effect of wind result in a small dwarf trees, shrubs and prostrate plant. On the leeward side, the plants are protected from the strong wind and therefore the vegetation consists of dense tall trees. Dwarfing is usually due to unfavorable water balance. The sixth point is the atmospheric gases. Atmosphere surrounding the earth contain three important gases. They are the carbon dioxide 0.03%, oxygen 21% and nitrogen 79%. The first effect of carbon dioxide. The carbon dioxide is the main source of carbon for the various type of organic component in the body of the plant. It is one of the minor constituents of the atmosphere about 0.03% by volume. Carbon dioxide is the main raw material for the manufacture of carbohydrate by the photosynthesis process by the green plant. The carbon dioxide which get incorporated into the organic compound of the plant returns to the atmosphere by respiratory breakdown of these compounds and by the death and decay and combustion of the plant. The carbon dioxide concentration is normally in a state of dynamic equilibrium in the atmosphere and remain fairly constant over a wide areas. Increase in carbon dioxide concentration over dense forest, however, during night time, respiratory and early morning may alter the with a decrease in its concentration during the daytime, that means photosynthesis. Aquatics get carbon dioxide from water. The carbon dioxide content dissolved in water is fairly high. The carbon dioxide content in the soil is also important in affecting the plant. Excess of carbon dioxide in the soil causes poor aeration. This decreases the metabolic activity of the root system of the plant. Next is the oxygen. Every living being, whether plant or animal, sustains its life because of oxygen. Atmospheric oxygen is vital to its life and normal growth occur. The amount of oxygen is normally constant in air because plant gives off oxygen during photosynthesis, which is replaced the oxygen consumed in respiration. Nitrogen. The nitrogen of the atmosphere cannot be directly fixed by the living being in general. Only the leguminous plants are capable of doing so with the help of certain bacteria. The atmospheric nitrogen is, however, made available to the soil by lightning, rainfall and nitrogen fixing microorganism. The decomposition of protein content of the dead plants and animal by microorganism also add to the nitrogen pool of the soil. The atmosphere has soil a large reservoir. In the atmosphere, soil has a large reservoir of nitrogen. The plant, by the activity of nitrifying bacteria, convert this atmospheric nitrogen into nitrite. The nitrogen content of the plant is largely consumed by animal as a food. Part of this nitrogen is again returned to the soil in the form of animal excreta or dead animal tissue. Thank you.